Thank you very much for staying on through this week's videos. I admit that there was once again lots of complex stuff to take in, so let me briefly summarize what we've done today. We first looked at the Bertrand Paradox, where economic theory tells us that firms who sell the same product to the market will end up in a perfectly competitive situation and make zero profits. In reality, however, we see that there are some aspects that lower the competitive pressure and enable firms to make positive profits. Firms do not have to take these aspects as given, but they can actively influence them in their favor. They could play the game with infinite repetitions. They could limit their capacities. They could increase the switching cost or differentiate their products. And this very last aspect is of particular importance, and so we took some time to discuss this in more detail. We looked at horizontal product differentiation and consumers with heterogeneous preferences. We also analyzed vertical product differentiation and consumers with money constraints or different willingnesses to pay for quality. Particularly interesting in this context is that not only those firms that offer high quality at high prices, but also the firms with low quality products and affordable prices can make profits. In the second part of the lecture, we looked at 3 generic strategies that firms can implement in order to create a defendable position and outperform competitors. They can either become a cost leader, differentiate their product, offer something unique and charge high prices. Related to this is the strategy of focusing on a particular buyer group, product line, or geographical market. All of these strategies promise a strong competitive position and high profits. It's important that companies do not try to implement all of these strategies at the same time, because in this case they can get stuck in the middle and profits are at risk. In some special circumstances, however, firms might be successful in pursuing multiple strategies simultaneously, and that's what we call ambidexterity. What we've learned today is of particular relevance for business decisions and can be implemented in practice. Wow, this is the very last wrap-up video, and indeed the very last video for this course. So what's left to say now is thank you very much for staying on throughout the whole course. Thank you for doing the weekly quizzes, and thank you for actively participating in the forums. I really do hope that you enjoyed the course as much as I did, and I'd be very grateful for your feedback, and if you found the course useful and fun. It's really been a pleasure for me. So by now, you should be familiar with the most important tools of game theory. You should be able to think about business situations in a systematic way. And you should be able to understand the story behind the story. Now, for the course, there's only one thing missing, and that's the final exam. Once you've gone through all the content, it should be fairly easy to handle. If you do want to prepare some more, though, go through the weekly quizzes again, discuss with your fellow participants, and then the final should be a piece of cake. Once again, let me thank you all for joining me in this adventure and for sticking through it. Now, all that's left to figure out is what to do every week. Maybe another course? But that's it for me and for competitive strategy. Cheers for now, and all the best.